Hopefully, each of you saw something there that will intrigue you to go out and try some sites that you hadn't known about before. All of this is happening so quickly that through the foundation, we've decided to actually create, by the end of this year, a site that will basically track what's going on, how the categories are changing, what the feedback is, and what's being tried. Some experiments are very straightforward. They're kind of incremental. Tell your kids about a great online simulation, video your own class. Some are far more radical. For example, at the end there, with Khan Academy, was the mention of so-called flip the classroom. And this is a big change. This is literally where you take the explanation of the material and you simply assign that for work outside of school, watching the little 12-minute Khan lectures. And so you expect the basic understanding of fractions or the other concepts that the students have already gained that. In fact, they've already done the unit tests, and you're able to go online and see how they're doing. And that preserves the class time for doing complex problems, for breaking up into groups, for discussing things that people are having a hard time with. It really is a very big change. In fact, there are 40 classes going on now where it's being compared, a traditional teaching approach where the things are still being explained in class versus this flip the classroom approach. There's other fairly radical experiments like the Charter rocket ship that uses this extended day approach and is able to fill the time without raising the teacher hours dramatically, get the student hours up of exposure to the material by having a lot of technology enter into that approach. Now, one wedge of this is the so-called true online, where the kids don't come together in a classroom. And that has a lot of fascinating properties. It allows you to have a lot of schedule flexibility, and it allows you to reach out to the best teachers across a diverse range of topics. Every state has a number of these virtual schools. Some of them are set up so you have to be entirely in that school for all your courses, and you can't do things a la carte. But a number of the big ones, like Florida Virtual, have things that are a la carte. And in fact, more and more on the web, if a high school is willing to accredit it, there are ways to take courses online. One of the great pieces of work in this area is being done by a group of 16 independent schools, and it's called the Global Online Academy. And this is the idea of taking some of the very best teachers at these schools and assembling a class, again, a small class of about 15 kids, and having them take the course together. And it's amazing, this is now entering its second year. It's amazing that the signups have been really high, and the range of the classes is very exciting to see. For example, there's a class taught on 9/11, and you have kids from many different religions, including kids, say, from Turkey, talking about how it's perceived in their country, how they think about that, and talking with kids here in the United States and seeing the different perspective. And so you gain this unbelievable ability to bring diversity into those classroom discussions. This particular effort's done on Haiku, and they're using video, they're using voice, they're trying out all these different ways that bring the classroom together. And the students are all taking this course at the same time. So in many ways, it feels like a normal course, with the exception of the fact that you're actually not in the classroom together, but you have a great teacher who's spending lots of time, as much time as they would have, as if they were teaching a normal class. I think it's efforts like that that are really going to point the way. I think overwhelmingly those things will be successful, but we'll learn some lessons. Which types of interactions really engage the student? Survey the students afterwards. Did you feel engaged with your teacher? When you were confused, did you feel like you had the same access to helping to fix that as you would have in a normal situation? So I'm painting a very positive picture here. So we might ask, well, what's holding schools back? Well, we first have to acknowledge that not every student has a portable PC or a tablet-like device. We do need to get the reliability of these things to be better. We need to get a form that's good for reading and has input. And the pen, along with touch and new ways of doing keyboards, will probably be important there. We also have to acknowledge that some kids, when they go home, don't have the internet access. And so they'd be at a huge disadvantage. Now, fortunately, a lot of the telecom providers and cable companies are providing a very uniquely low price, as low as $10 a month, so that if it's just for student access, it can be done, and even setting up a scholarship type approach that makes sure that 100% of the kids have 24-hour access. That is becoming more and more possible. We also need to give teachers time to catch up, see these things. We need to give them a forum to go out and learn what other people are doing. We do need to do serious comparison studies and make sure that these not only work for students on average, but they actually work for all the students.